want to say greetings, good evening, how the hell are you? The music plays, the microphones go hot, and we are live on this Tuesday. 24th day of November 2015, 15 minutes after the 9 o'clock hour in the Eastern Time Zone, 15 after 6 in the West Coast. Thank you for hanging out with us right so far this evening. Beyond Ringside, back to basics. Live from Studio 1, the Magic City Motor Mount Fast Eddie Layne over here. Tell you what, got a stacked, loaded, locked, and ready to go show on this Tuesday thing real quick. In just about 18 seconds from right now, going to be joined by a good friend of the family with Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment, Josh Wheeler, coming on board. Top of the 9 o'clock Central Time hour, Stan Grubb from Wrestle Rage Radio will be coming on board. And at the top of the 10 o'clock hour, Central Time, 11 o'clock Eastern, going to be joined by Shane Knowles with Peach State Wrestling Alliance. Got some great events going on all the way through the weekend. It will be a party and then some. Thank you to everybody listening in through .com as well as the Beyond Ringside Radio app for Amazon, Android, and BlackBerry. I figured I'd screw it up once just for the hell of it. And of course, everybody through Ustream, TuneIn Radio, and all the different ways that are available on the live side. I'll cover the replay side in just a few minutes. Lee, do me a favor. I'm just going to kill that window. 6 windows open, and obviously it's 5 too many. Like to welcome in, you heard me mention him a second ago, good friend of the family with Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment. He is not only the voice, he is not only the face, so to speak, he's also the man who puts it all together, Mr. Josh Wheeler. Josh, how you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing absolutely great.
You have been in the midst of a lot of fun over the last few weeks, coming off of House Party 5. Tremendous stars coming in for this one. I wish I could have been there, but unfortunately, duty called. I had to work. Hate it when that happens. Actually, I love it when that happens, but I hate it when that happens. So it's like, but you are not cooling the jets in the least. Matter of fact, A.W.E. returns to action this Saturday. Excuse me, this Sunday night. Sunday, hello.
This Sunday, yeah.
I know, I'm so used to saying Saturday because of everything that I've been covering in the last few weeks. Everything from Global to Combat Zone to Maryland Championship Wrestling to stuff out on the West Coast. It's like, and then I come back into play. It's like, A.W.E. does a Sunday afternoon, 4 p.m. local time at the Quad, 714 Spring Street, Atlanta, Georgia, just down the street from the Varsity, right up the street from the Cheetah.
Yes.
Sorry, that's a personal bookmark in my case. I get in more trouble. Fortunately for me, the Cheetah is closed on Sunday.
It is. And that's one reason why, like, hey, if you're in Atlanta, just come on and see us.
Now, you've had some great stars, seriously, some tremendous talent come through the doors at A.W.E. in the last few weeks. For those that have not had a chance to hear, go ahead and run down just some of the names that you've had come through the door.
Oh, goodness gracious. Just at the house party alone, we had Kimberly make her Atlanta debut. Marty Bell made her Atlanta debut. David Starr came back and challenged Jimmy Rave for the Georgia Wrestling Crown Championship, and that match was fantastic. We debuted Leo Rush. If you don't know Leo Rush, get on the Google machine, type in his name, go watch some videos. The kid's 21 years old. He's going to be a superstar. Mm-hmm. Closest thing that can really kind of accurately describe Leo Rush would be Rich Swann.
Okay.
He reminds me a lot of Rich Swann, but I think, and then to take another way from Rich Swann, because Rich Swann, they're similar, but they're the same, but I think Leo Rush understands the social media game and marketing way more than anybody I've ever seen in the wrestling business. I mean, the kid came, T-shirts, Polaroids, everything, and then he's got his own like marketing banner. Like, it's an amazing. The guy's a class act. He's going to be something special. I'm telling you. Like, if you don't know about him, he was just on the last Evolve event, had a killer weekend there. And then he just came into for us and wrestled Sugar Dunkerton, and it's a hard. I mean, seriously, like we at the end of the shows, we always some of the people, some of the guys always ask, "Hey, what's the match of the night?" And it's hard to give away the match of the night from House Party 5 because David and Jimmy were so good, but Sugar and Leo was so good too. And then the 6-man between Iceberg, Murder, and Chip Day, the Hierarchy against the Heroes with Kimberly turned out to be absolutely amazing. So it's real tough, and that's a good thing. I mean, it's a good thing as a promoter and an owner of a company to say, man, it's so tough to tell you what the best match was. Just like 2 weeks before then, November 1st, we were at the Quad, and Iceberg and Dartmouth tore the house down. I mean, literally tore the building apart. There was chairs broken, a door was slammed in. It was just we really we keep raising the bar for what we can do, and I just, as we close out 2015, I'm just, these next two shows they're tradition shows, and what I mean by that is we're on Thanksgiving weekend here on Sunday, and then we're going to be doing a show 2 days after Christmas, December 27th. It's show of the year, and that's our biggest show of the year. It's kind of like our Starcade. I'll go ahead and say that it's going to be our big event. We're working on some major matches for that event right now. That's why we're only doing one show in December, because we're going to put all of the budget into that one big show of the year. So
now I've got to bring this one up because you made a reference to David Starr and Jimmy Rave, and after watching. I've watched Jimmy Rave on a number of different occasions. I've watched him in singles, watched him in tags, and when it comes to David Starr, here's something a lot of people aren't really getting 2 + 2 on. And if you're using Common Core, no, it's not 39. Seriously, it's not. It's really not. It's 4. Trust me. Even though I went to school in Alabama, I know this, okay? Now, for those who, it's like, David Starr, that name rings a bell. Think 104 minutes. Because he and Dave Christ just recently had a match that went 104 minutes at Rockstar Pro up in Dayton, Ohio. And he was just down here in Atlanta for A.W.E. So if it's like, man, this guy who went 104, I really wanted to see him. It's like, well, if you didn't pay attention, he was just down here, ding-dongs. Yes, I'm being a little bit sarcastic for a second because, I know you get so many different lines of questioning and commentary. I get the same thing. And it's like when I talk about A.W.E, I've been to one of the shows at the Quad. I came over for the Masquerade event, and I will say this the same way to your face that I said behind your back. I had a great time at both shows. All the way up until the time the ding-dong at the Masquerade cut the power that we were using to do the interview with Tommy Dreamer and Moose Dipstick. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no. It's been a sore subject. I'm glad we're done that place, honestly. But
No, but I said it a little bit like this, and I know the Masquerade was a big show, and I just, for some reason, and I guess it's because the Quad was the first, or the Legacy at the Quad, or the Quad at the Legacy, take your pick. It's interchangeable, yet just
it's interchangeable, yeah, exactly.
And it just seemed like you were more at home, and a lot of the talent was more at home in the Quad than they were at the Masquerade show.
And I'll shout it out. They probably won't hear the podcast, but Chris, Jonathan, Elvis, the main guys of Quad, they support us. And when I mean they support us, I'm not just saying like, they want to have wrestling there, or they're just marks that have a show. No, they support us, and then they get it. They're nightclub owners that want to do new things in their club because, hey, EDM's kind of phasing itself out. No one's going to sit there and argue that, that's not true or whatever, and they just want to do something different, get a whole different crowd in there, and, make it a good, friendly relationship, and they get, they give me any dates I need, no questions asked, and I bring other events to them besides just what A.W.E is doing. I hooked them up with people I know in the city that might want to run parties. I helped to coordinate this whole thing for this TV network that I can't mention right now, but, all these little things that I helped them do just because they've supported A.W.E, and that's kind of like how I've always looked at it. If you support A.W.E, you help us out in our growth, it's going to come back to you. I'm going to make sure of that. Maybe it's not financial like some people want it, like immediately, but I look at everything we do as a strategic partnership. And, from whether it's, a certain exposure or whatever, just like I come on your podcast, and then, we love helping you guys out. We love helping out other podcasts. We love helping out other bloggers. Like, it's all partnership, and that's what it should be, is like, wrestling should be one big ecosystem where we all kind of try to work together as much as we can. Now, I get it. Egos are in the way. I'm not going to run shows with certain guys, but it doesn't mean I'm going to, completely, hate on their product. I may not agree with some of the people you book, or I may not agree with some of the ideas that you do, and I may, laugh at some of your posters or your website or whatever, but, hey, I'm a jerk. But at the same time, I still want you to use good wrestling, and I still want to support good wrestling.
I wondered why we got along so well.
What's that?
I wondered why we got along so well.
Yeah, but and that's the thing is, if you're using a guy that can't lock up, can't use a headlock, then don't expect me to say, hey, you're doing a good job. Way to keep wrestling alive for all of us. you're being detrimental. Like, don't even play with it. And that to me is like the most insulting thing. Just like if I'm an Atlanta Braves fan, which I am, and they trade Andrelton Simmons, I'm upset.
Yeah.
I like Simmons. He's one of my favorite players. Now, if they go out there and they put Eric Ivar at shortstop and he's comparable, whatever, I'm not gonna be so upset. But if they replace him with like Pat Listash, I'm gonna be upset. So that's kind of what I look at. Like, be able to play the game, be able to do what you do, and I won't be so mean.
I understand the concept so well. Now, coming out of House Party 5, I know you had a lot of situations coming into play, and I know that coming up this coming Sunday night, you've got a roller coaster set. Now, you've also talked about, I believe it was the Sunday after Christmas. I believe that's going to be the 27th, right?
Yeah, it's the 27th.
Okay. Now, that one's also going to be at the Quad, correct?
Yes, we decided, and again, that was one of those things we were looking for a bigger venue. I wanted to show the year to be big, but then when it came right down to it, I was like, you know what? Quad's been cool. Quad has been great for us, and you know what? We don't need 500 people. We don't need 1,000 people. We just need 200 people. And the reason I say that is it's not financial. Like, I mean, trust me, I want to make a lot of money, but I want to also reward our loyals, and I want our fanatics, as we call them, the guys like Justin and Nate and Big O and Teapot and all these guys that come to all these shows, the Kool-Aid drinkers, as some bloggers will call them. I want those guys to get up close and personal at our biggest show of the year, because I know that in 2016, when we do bigger events, they're going to be in the front row. I know when we need a street team, they're going to be asking to hand out flyers. They're going to be begging to hand out flyers. So I wanted to give back to them. It's their Christmas present from us. And I know that sounds stupid, but when it comes down to it, we do this because of those guys. We do this because of the fans, and if you say that you don't, then you're lying. Because there's nobody putting on independent wrestling shows unless you're one of those promoters that's doing it as a vanity project. You're doing it because you want to bring good wrestling to people you know, or people that you want to know, or people in your hometown, or wherever you're doing shows at. That's all you're doing it for. And that's kind of what we're doing in Atlanta. We're building our own little thing, and sure, they might be Kool-Aid drinkers to some, but to us, they're the best damn fans in the South. Period.
Now,
and they're intelligent. I mean, they're not, no offense to those that are, they're not wrestling fans. They're not going to sit there and just clap along. You got to impress these guys, and it's hard.
Yeah.
As a promoter, it's hard. I mean, I've seen talent come in, and they start chanting, "Please don't come back."
Funny. That I have not heard yet.
You've not heard that. We did that at our open tryout day, and some of the kids, young kids came all the way from Indianapolis, and they were told to not come back.
Damn. Now, I've got to cut in on a couple of things real quick, because I want to cover this for the crowd that's listening. You made a reference to being able to give back to the fans, and you've done that already in one capacity by offering season passes, or, I believe that's the appropriate term, season passes, where you could buy a multi-show package. And you're actually you're one of the few promoters who actually does that.
Well, again, I look at it like this. Okay, I love the Braves. I love the Braves. Do I want to go see 81 games? Of course, I would love to go see every home game, but the package is a little high, but they offer flex plans.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of those flex plans are the only way to get tickets to see the Cubs or the Yankees or the Red Sox. So, if you want to see the good games, you need to get the flex plan.
Right.
And that's kind of where the whole idea came from. Now, the next this show coming up is the end of the fall pass. We are not going to be doing one until early spring, just because of the way the calendar sets up. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to send some emails to our loyal fans to maybe get them a deal, or help them with. Because again, do I want to make money? Of course. Do we need to pay our bills? Of course. But I also know that if you reward the ones that are there and spending money, then they're going to reward you by getting more people to the shows.
Now, I also want to cover a phrase that you used a couple of minutes ago that had me laughing my ass off, because I've read it before and I've heard it before. And here's the funny thing about it. You have some people who will look at that as a detrimental statement. You have others that'll sit back and say, wait a minute, this must be something, because they're pulling that out of the ECW hat. And I'm making a reference to the Kool-Aid drinkers. Now, here's the funny thing about this. You have different fans who like different styles. That is all the way across the country. That's in the Southeast, Northeast, Midwest, Southwest, Northwest, all of the above. You've got different fans like that all the way across the country, kids. And you have some that do not particularly always go for what is known as the traditional Southern style of wrestling. I don't fault them for that. Everybody likes something different. You have people who, it's like, okay, fine. What's the difference between a Kiss fan and a Marilyn Manson fan? They're both music fans. They just like different styles of music.
Right.
And I'll lay it out there like that. Kiss, gold record champions of all time in rock and roll. Marilyn Manson, not exactly going to have as many gold or platinum records, but by the same token, they're going to have a very devoted fan base that's going to definitely come out every time they make their move.
Yep.
And so for everybody, it's like when you read, it doesn't matter which website it's on. It doesn't matter which podcast it may be mentioned on. It doesn't matter if it's mentioned here on live internet radio and beyond Ringside Sports Radio. It's the understanding of the concept and the term. So when you hear a phrase like that used, use both sides of your brain when you hear it. That way you can truly discern the effect that's in play. Because when you've got somebody writing a column, and I think I know who you're talking about. And he's a good friend of mine. And I kind of laugh every time I see that phrase used, because I immediately flash back to Extreme Championship Wrestling, because that's what those fans were called at that one point in time. So I don't consider that to be an insult in the damn least. And here's the trick to the matter. When you're able to present a package, regardless of whether or not it's at the Quad, the Masquerade, and you and I have had the discussion about why you like to work an event, you like to have a venue such as the Quad, because it's not all about the kids. And I understand that. You're not going to turn them away, but by the same token, you're not always going to go straight ahead and cater to them, thinking of the fact that mom and dad's going to turn around and do what the little kids want to do. And it's like, did I say that too fast? No, I don't think so. And
I caught it.
Okay. Some people didn't. For a written transcript of tonight's show, please Morse code the number on your screen. Or use smoke signals. I'll get those faster. Hint, hint. From there, you have to be able to open your minds. You have to be able to open your perspectives in professional wrestling. It's like, okay, so somebody who likes global championship wrestling in Alabama may not be a big fan of I.W.E. Deep South or Combat Zone Wrestling, but you have to look at the fact of the matter in play. And I'm using this as a very loose comparison right now, because I.W.E. Deep South focuses a lot on the hardcore, the ultra violent, but they also work to bring in talent that you've never seen before. Okay,
right.
So A.W.E. does not run in a high school gymnasium or a local community center. They run at the Quad at the Legacy, 714 Spring Street. The main thing that they are working to bring you, they're working to bring you talent that you may never have seen before, that they think that you will be able to enjoy as they ply their wares inside the ring, as well as focal point mainstays that you do know and recognize, that you do enjoy seeing ply their wares inside the squared circle. So you've got a good mix of talent. They're not going razor blades and barbed wire and fluorescent tubes and tables. Like I said, that was a loose comparison, comparing the brands that were in play. What A.W.E. at the Quad does, they may have somebody that you've seen from Absolute Intense Wrestling, or maybe from Combat Zone, or Rockstar Pro, or a number of different promotions around, because I'll say this and I'll pop the cork on it. A team from A.W.E. recently made an appearance at the Full Impact Pro 6-man tag team tournaments. And they had a chance, and I commend, I envy you as well as commend. You had a chance to do some great networking because you had a chance to see some talent you had not seen in person before. And that's why you were able to bring in some different people, because I remember you had, there was one team in particular that had come up to the Masquerade that you had just worked with that weekend and at Full Impact Pro, which, dude, that was a hell of a move.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is, like, and the way I kind of look at it is, again, okay, perfect example. Wrestling has not been in Atlanta for 14, 15 years. I know there's been some little offshoots here or there, but let's be 100% honest. Good professional wrestling has not been in Atlanta since WCW died. And I think their last event was in January of, 2000. At a dome, and then there's been a little NWA show at Phillips that drew 200 people at that Phillips, and I know there was that show that was out in the on the outskirts in Avondale, and I know that there was some spot shows in the Masquerade or whatever. But when it came down to it, fans are not really aware of the Georgia scene. I don't want to call any names, but there's a lot of guys in Georgia that work every show in Georgia, or they work the I-20 loop, as we like to call it.
Yeah.
And where they'll hit, the UIW Carrollton, they'll hit Monroe, they'll hit GCW out in Alabama, and they work that loop. And again, that's no disrespecting those guys, but they work that same loop, and then they might hit up to Cornelia, maybe, or they might stay in Fort Valley, or they might hit up to Empire.
Right.
But in Atlanta, there's a metropolis of 6 million people, and most of the wrestling fans in that area have no clue who these guys in the Georgia scene are.
Right.
There might be 35 to 300 people that might know who JT Dunn or David Starr is because maybe they follow the internet just a little bit.
Right.
Perfect example, one of our regulars that's, unfortunately not been able to attend anything in Season 2 just yet, but boy, is he upset he's not. He travels to PWG shows from Atlanta.
Right.
Flies out there almost every show. He has followed Kimberly's career. He literally hit me up the day we announced that she was coming to town and was like, "Oh my God, I hate you." And I was just like, "What did we do?" And he goes, "I can't come to shows right now, but you are literally bringing all these people to Atlanta, and I'm so excited that someone's finally doing this." And that's kind of the vibe and the aesthetic. And again, our style might be a little different than what people are traditionally used to. We call it Southern Strong Style because you know what? It's not fake. It's not phony. You come to our show and you're going to realize that these guys are beating the crap out of each other. You're also going to realize that we are a little bit more adult-oriented in our booking and our language. And a lot of people are very turned off by that. I'm sorry, but I've always said the same people that are binge-watching Game of Thrones or Walking Dead are the same people telling us that we're vulgar. It makes no sense. The same kids that are saying, we want attitude, are then going on the internet and saying, we're too extreme.
Go figure that one out. I really don't see the disconnect. I mean, I agree with you 110%. Tell you what, folks, real quick, we are at 24 before the top of the hour on this Tuesday night. I almost said October, shoot me. Actually, no, I'd have more time to play with. November 24th, Fast Eddie Layne with Josh Wheeler from Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment. Dude, you and I we've done this before. You and I can actually go 2 and 3 hours, but I do want to turn the focal point right now. This coming Sunday night at the Quad, 714 Spring Street, Atlanta, Georgia. Amazingly enough, I do have that memorized. I don't have to use a cheat sheet. Now, you've got in your main event the Hierarchy versus Team I.O.U. in a 10-man tag team battle. It's
the Hierarchy and Team I.O.U. versus the A.W.E. Heroes.
You're right. I'm wrong. I misread the ampersand, and that's what happens. Folks, I really got to start smoking a better grade of crack. That's all I can say.
But yes, traditional Survivor Series main event, 5-on-5, Thanksgiving weekend again. Say what you will about, they're so new school. They're this new indie, super indie style, whatever. No, that's a bunch of BS. It's a bunch of baloney. You're regurgitating what someone's told you. We are bringing you traditional professional wrestling. If you like Memphis, if you like ECW, if you like World Class, if you like Georgia Championship Wrestling, if you like the old NWA, you will love us. We just happen to say the F word a few times. But it's still good-hearted wrestling.
And the downside of this is what?
We have on there the main event, 5-on-5. I'm actually on your show to change that.
What?
It's still going to be 10 men. But we're going to throw in an element that's never been seen before in a traditional Survivor Series match. We're going to combine some War Games rules.
Really?
We are actually going to, because I thought about it, and I watched the show this past weekend, and I was like, those matches can kind of drag. They can kind of get boring. We need to add a new element to it. Let's not just be so traditional. Let's throw a twist. So what we're going to do is we get the two teams. The two captains, Adrian Armour for the Heroes, Murder One for the Hierarchy, are going to flip a coin. The winner of the coin flip will get a 2-on-1 advantage to start the match.
Oh, to
Every 2 minutes, a new person will be
To
allowed
start the
to
match?
come in for each team. They'll alternate, of course, based on who won the coin toss. Traditional tag team rules will still apply. Eliminations can take place anytime during the match, DQs, countouts, pinfalls, or submissions, but one team will have a pretty much an advantage for almost the entire match, especially, God forbid, it starts off 2-on-1 and someone loses right then and there to start off. Or what if they eliminate someone, it's 3-on-1? The whole like concept, the whole story, whatever you want to say, it's totally changed now, because now there's a whole new set of rules to this matchup. And now who's going to overcome the odds?
I am typing as we speak. So,
again, maybe it's a little hard to understand, but at the same time, like, it's unique, it's different, and we just wanted to put a little twist on tradition, so we kind of own it a little bit. We still don't have a name for the match. There's nothing fancy or no marketing just yet, but it's going to be 5-on-5. It's going to add elements of War Games and Survivor Series, so you get the best of both worlds, the North and the South, WWE and WCW. And, that's how the main event's going to work now.
So let me go ahead and run this by one time, just because I want to make sure I got this right, because I know I heard you, but I want to make sure it sinks into my pea brain. I'm not afraid to pick on myself like I give a flying F. There you go. I take myself that seriously sometimes. There will be a coin toss before the match begins.
Yes.
The winner of that coin toss gets a man advantage from the get-go?
Yes.
So it will start by being a 2-on-1 handicap, and at the end of I'm assuming you're going by time periods, right?
There will be a time period, so then the loser coin toss will then make it even.
Okay.
If they have not been eliminated already.
Gotcha. Yeah, because that could
be... And again, that's the thing, eliminations can start from the get-go. So, like, let's just hypothetical, let's say Adrian wins the coin toss. Adrian and Siler start in against Carrie Awful. And let's just say that Armor pins Carrie Awful. They now will have a break until that 2 minutes is up.
Right.
And then even at that 2 minutes, they'll, the next guy will come out. So let's say it's Nick Iggy, now it's 2-on-1. Well, the next 2 minutes, it's now 3-on-1.
Right.
So, you could legitimately have a team be up 4-1, 5-1, almost the entire match.
Damn. Very nice.
Now, again, it will be traditional tag rules, so you don't get to just come into the match. You basically make yourself eligible at ring for a tag now.
Now, for those who do not know, the team that comprises the A.W.E. Heroes, who all's on the team?
It is Adrian Armour as a captain, Siler Cross is tag team partner with the Lethal Weapons. He has also chosen the Dark Mon. He has chosen Martin Stone from FIP Evolve, former NXT talent, and the wild card of team, Owen Knight. And they are facing the hierarchy, which is now Murder One, Iceberg, Jimmy Rave, and their paid assassins, Carrie Awful and Nick Iggy, Team I.O.U.
This is a dangerous, and I'm going to go ahead and bring back the phrase. I love it. I kept it all my own until somebody else decides they want to go and file something about it. Combustible elements are in place.
Yes.
Now, I just have one quick question. And I ask you, on the inside looking out and the outside looking in, can the hierarchy trust Team I.O.U.?
I think so, because I think money talks. I think the bigger question is going to be, can Adrian Armour trust Dartmon or Owen Knight? I think that's a more combustible element than I.O.U. in the hierarchy. Because I think Carney's like money, and I think there's been some money switched hands. And I think that Carrie Awful and Nick Iggy are, on the take, so to speak.
Yeah, I've watched Iggy and Awful for a while.
They're awful human beings. No redeeming qualities at all for those guys.
I'll drink to that. Now Iggy is one direction, but Carrie Awful, you mentioned the words wild card, and I think that's an understatement when it comes to Carrie Awful.
Oh, I totally agree, and that's going to be one of the things about the hierarchy team is controlling their tempers.
Yes, I will agree to that wholeheartedly. Let's take a look at the rest of the card real quick. What all you got coming up this Sunday?
We got Aaron Epic will be facing Jason Cade, two other amazing Florida FIP talents coming up to Georgia. They've wrestled each other a million times in the Florida scene. It's going to be brand new for Georgia. It's going to be amazing. If you've never seen Jason Cade fly, I definitely suggest coming out of the quad this Sunday and seeing one of the best aerial talents in the business soar. And Aaron Epic is a lot like the team I.O.U. we were just mentioned. He's a dirtbag. Like, there's just no redeeming qualities. He's a horrible human being, and he is, he's got his sights set on getting Sugar Dunkerton back. At the same time, he's also trying to prove that, hey, I'm a contender too. I'd love to get a shot at Cedric or Chip or Jimmy. So, a lot of riding on this matchup for both guys. Really, it's also Jason Cade's first singles match with us. So, getting him the singles ranks is very important. His tag partner just a month ago, Aaron Solo, defeated Shinron at one of our shows. So, Cade's got to one up his tag partner. So we'll see how that one goes. Also on the card, the Spring Street Suicide Squad, a new upstart tag team here in Georgia of Ken Lee and Chris Kronk, will be competing. Also making his debut will be Timmy Lou Retton. Don't know if you know much about Timmy Lou Retton, but I'll just kind of give you a little background. He's about 6'1" to 6'3", probably around 240, 250, graceful, gymnast, Too Cold Scorpio 2000. This guy's he's an amazing athlete. I think that the fans are really going to take to him, even though they might not like his character at first, but I think once they see him actually in the ring, they're going to take to him. Also on the card will be some roar action, because, we enjoy the hardcore women's action in Atlanta. And I'm trying to think. That's really all we got so far planned. And we do know that Luscious LaRon will be in the house. I don't know if you've seen his another transformation, but now he's almost like Gold Dust.
Say what?
He just gets weirder and weirder every show.
I'm beginning to believe that.
A few weeks ago, he thought he was a Darkmon. Now all of a sudden, he's thinking that he's like a new version of Gold Dust, and he's last show he tried to violate Siler Cross, and the guy's a weird character. Also, Marco hopefully will be back in action. He hurt his shoulder a few weeks ago, and if he is able to go, he will be facing Chips Glenn Matthews, who's been a lot of controversy the past few weeks for that young man.
Just a little bit. But they say,
just a little bit.
but they do say controversy creates cash. We'll see how that pans out. By the way, tag team partner over on Wrestle Rage Radio, Stan Grubb, sent this over just a second ago. He said, based on what you're talking about right now, as far as it goes with the 10-man main event, you should call it Civil War.
I like that. I will pitch that idea in the meeting.
Okay. So, Stan,
I do like that.
Stan, if you thought I wasn't going to tell him, guess what? I just did, and I gave you credit for it. I'm not taking credit for something that's not mine.
I like that.
I like it too, actually.
But so it's going to be an interesting show. I'm excited about it. Like I said, it's tradition. It's also, if you look at how TV is usually, formatted, which I'm a TV nut. This is our episode before our mid-season finale. So if you know anything about TV, that's usually when all craziness usually takes place in TV shows.
You can say all hell breaks loose.
Hook you on that mid-season finale, like to get you to watch the mid-season finale. They hook you with this one. So I think it's a can't miss. I mean, you never know what we're going to do. Every show we've had since August has been just. I mean, to me, every show's just got better and better and better. Everything's clicking on all cylinders. The only thing that's missing is I'm obviously doing a terrible job promoting the shows, so I'm still trying to figure that out on my own end. Other than that, I think the wrestling is the best in the Southeast by far, and I think the fact that people are talking about it all the way up in Canada kind of shows that.
Well, to our friends in Canada, get your asses down here.
Yeah, we actually probably have a bigger fan base in Canada than we do in Georgia, to be quite honest with you. And that's not a joke. I'm not even trying to play around with that one. I'm dead serious. you should see all the tweets and stuff that I get from people from Canada.
Hey, look, I'll shoot straight with you. I mean, we're based in Birmingham, Alabama. This is my home market, and I promote the living hell out of this show here in our Central Alabama home market. Lo and behold, the live version as well as the podcast is actually, the podcast of the live shows is actually downloaded in a number of different countries. I was humbled and flattered for a while before the volcano erupted that the Beyond Ringside brand was actually downloaded in Iceland.
Wow, that's kind of cool, actually.
So if they've got everything back up, and I haven't looked at the logistics and the analytics in the last couple of months, but if our friends are back on board in Iceland, thank you. Just like up all across Canada, British Columbia, you name it, they're out there, and it's like we're very appreciative of it. But we have the hardest time getting the word out in our home market of Birmingham.
Oh no! Hey, trust me, I know all about that. I mean, I was just outside at Raw or Survivor Series Sunday, handing out flyers, and it was like it's almost like pulling teeth. I mean, people just, they either didn't want to take them or, God forbid, and this one actually shocked me. The number of people that didn't know who Gargano and Ciampa were, because I got a two-sided flyer, one advertising the show this weekend and one advertising the fact that we got Gargano and Ciampa coming in January, and guys wearing NXT shirts and never saw Gargano and Ciampa wrestle.
Really?
And I'm just like, what is going on here? But this is, the riddle that I'm trying to solve, and I'm hopefully, just hard work and time and effort and sweat equity is gonna pay off.
And I will go ahead and drop this one on air, but I'll elaborate off air. One of our recent guests on BR Live, the Sunday night show, was actually kind enough to give us a heads up that he was going to be heading your way a little bit later on in the season. He didn't say whether it was going to be December or January, but he did say once everything was public, he was going to come back on BR Live to talk about the upcoming match. So I'll leave it at that. I'll give you the name off air. So we were already playing.
Okay. Oh, okay. Because I'm trying to figure out who you're talking about now, because we've got so many people in the works now. Then.
Well, I know that one of your big ones is you. There is, let's see. I know there's one team in particular that you would love to bring, and this is not who I'm talking about. I know there's a team that you would love to bring into the Atlanta market, away from a certain, let's just say Bling of Blonner. And unfortunately, it's on that darn exclusive deal, and now we can't even touch them. So you're kidding me.
Thank you, Sinclair.
Oh, crap. Dude, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm really sorry.
No, and again, that was just one of those things where, and I had the opportunity to meet them back in July. Totally cooler than I expected. I'm thinking, they're going to be like, here's my email. And instead it was more like, oh, my God, we've been trying to get to Atlanta for 10 years. It's like, oh, yeah. Okay, well, here's my card. Let's talk. And we talked, and then, he was just like, I got some stuff going on in my personal life, and, of course, we're going to Japan all the time. And the next thing you know, just signed an exclusive deal. So that kind of screwed us on that one. But, we're still trying to do things. I mean, there's some news made today, and we've already put our feelers out on that one. And we got our feelers out on some other guys that have never been to Georgia that we think would, fit our style. So, we're going to make some stuff happen. 2016 is going to be fun.
Now, do me a favor. This Sunday, 29th, bell time 4 p.m. What time do the doors open?
Doors will open between 3 to 3:50. I will say this. It's a little bit colder than normal, so what we'll probably do, Quad's got a little lobby area. We're actually working very close. We've actually moved the bar into that lobby area.
Oh, cool.
So what we're probably going to do is open the doors earlier to that lobby so people can go ahead, kind of inside tailgate. And that's the thing, you call them the Kool-Aid drinkers all you want to, but just last show, 25 of them strong out in the parking lot tailgating before the event. Where do you see a wrestling show do that?
It's rare. It's genuinely rare.
So, the buzz is growing. Their friends are starting to come. Their friends are being converted. And it's going to be one of those things where, I tell everybody this all the time, and I mean it wholeheartedly. In about 90 days, we're going to look back after we sell out the Quad for, the 5th time in a row and be like, hey, remember we couldn't get 20 people to buy a ticket?
So our friends in the southeastern U.S., I don't care if it's all the way through Georgia, eastern Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, northeast Florida, take the time It's going to be worth the drive. It really is. Josh, how much are tickets for the show Sunday?
Tickets are $15. You can actually do a 2 for $25 on our website right now through PayPal. And I don't know if I ever mentioned this on your show, but every show I offer a money-back guarantee. If you do not have fun, I will give you your money back. And I don't know there's many shows that will do that because they know that they can't offer that because they know that their shows aren't going to maybe hit the quality mark or maybe, one match is going to, kind of spoil the whole bunch or whatever. But and it's not trying to, bury anybody, but I know top to bottom our shows are amazing, and that's why I put it out there. If you buy a ticket and you're a new customer, I will refund your money before you leave if you do not like the show, but you have to tell me in person that you do not like it. Don't go on Twitter and tweet about it. Don't go on Yelp and write a bad review. You have to come physically tell me to my face the show sucked.
How many people, folks, how many people do you know that are going to be ballsy enough to make a statement like that? I honestly don't.
I have yet to have a single person ask for a refund, and I will say this as well. I've yet to have anyone actually leave and say they're not coming back. I've had a few say that they may not be able to make it because of certain days, or their wife's this, or their friend's this. Everybody's got excuses for not being at shows, but I've yet to have anyone tell me they're not coming back because they didn't like the show, except for one person, and he'll remain nameless because he already hates hearing me on podcast anyway.
I know who you're talking about. Oh, God. How can everybody find you and A.W.E on social media?
ATL Wrestling ENT for everything. Everything. A.W.E. And for me, you can find me on Twitter at Josh Von Wheeler. I try to tweet more personal stuff, even though I will say this. They did update a whole bunch of NWA World Championship Wrestling on the network, so I will be live tweeting those things, even though they're pre-recorded 30 years ago.
Yeah, really. Now, before I let you run and enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night, pick one college and one pro game that you're going to be paying attention to this weekend.
I guess technically I'm going to pay attention to Alabama, Auburn, even though I really don't care either way. I think Alabama's going to blow them out, but it's the Iron Bowl. How can you not watch it? Football, Cowboys, Thanksgiving, it's the tradition. They'll probably win because Tony Romo's back. But, hey, it is what it is. I'll also, keep up with the Jets, even though my team's terrible this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting back looking, and for every pro wrestling promotion in the southeastern United States that is running this coming Saturday, you should all sit back and say, yes, there is a God, and we thank him now that Alabama-Auburn is going to be a 2:30 early afternoon game. Market your asses off, people.
Oh, yeah. That's when does that ever happen? It's usually always at 3:30, 6:30 game. Come on. Wow.
It's normal. Yeah, Alabama-Auburn is normally, if it's not an early game, it's prime time. And in the last couple of years, it's been a prime time game, which has been which has been a Southern pro wrestling or a pro wrestling promoter in the South's nightmare. Because it doesn't matter. People in Miami watch this game. People in Tennessee watch this game. Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida watch this game. People on the West Coast watch Alabama-Auburn.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and I'm sitting back going, really, kids? It's going to be that. It's going to be, yeah. And I'm kind of curious to see what's going to happen. It's like, I'm going to close on this note because one of my favorite morning shows is the Dan Patrick Show. And they have a person that calls in on Monday, supposedly a Cowboy fanatic. A lot of people think it's Will Ferrell. The guy name is Shay from Irving, or Shay in Irving. And he you know what I'm talking about. And
yeah.
And he led off this week with, the Messiah has returned, Danny. It's like, and he's talking about Romo. Because Romo's first game back, they win. Well, it's not just Romo's first game back. They've got people that are more healthy than they were 2 and 3 weeks ago.
Well, yeah, and the NFL. I was wondering why. I don't hate the NFL, but I'm not the fan that I used to be because to me the NFL is all based on quarterback play. And if you got an adequate quarterback, you're not losing very many games. It's just that simple. And I think that's what you're starting to see. With I'm a Jets fan, and we've not had an adequate quarterback since Neil O'Donnell left.
Well, you were talking about the Dallas-Carolina game. I think Carolina's going to stay undefeated. And right now I'm looking at Chicago and Green Bay, and I'm sitting back going, you know something? Green Bay needs to win this game. I would love to see I don't know if you're a Cutler fan or not, but I would just love to see Cutler run out on the rail. And folks in our – really? I mean, look.
Wow.
I really would. I think he deserves it. And if anything, If I was going to be anywhere other than Atlanta this coming Sunday, I would be up in Nashville for Oakland at Tennessee.
That will be an interesting game. I'm not going to lie. That is going to be an interesting matchup because there's actually a lot more at stake than people realize.
Yeah. I mean, and in my humble opinion right now, Oakland's got a lot of things going in their favor, and Tennessee's been on a roller coaster ride. How are they going to bounce back over the sequence of events which has occurred the last couple of weeks, especially the loss in Jacksonville? Come on. They should have never lost that game. So, yeah.
Well, Jacksonville's still in first place, right?
I don't have my stats in front of me, so I can't tell you for sure. I think Jacksonville is still.
That just shows you how bad that division is.
Yeah, I mean it's like kind of like the AFC Smythe hockey reference, and for our friends over in the Peach State of Georgia and around the Southeast, Minnesota will be at Atlanta this Sunday. It's a 12 noon local time start, if my notes are correct.
It's 1 o'clock kickoff, but yeah, I think your time is 12, so you're central, yeah.
Okay, how did they change the time zone for my computer? I'm kick the buzzards in the head. So it's like 12 Central, 1 Eastern.
It is definitely a 1 o'clock game. It's definitely we are going against it, but I think the bandwagon's starting to spin out of control, and I think this is going to be the game that kind of like flattens that tire. So, hey, if you're a huge Falcons fan, we probably weren't going to see you anyway. If you're a casual Falcons fan, we only need 250 people to sell the quad, so get tickets now.
You got it. Brother, always a pleasure. Thank you, and I hope everything rocks this coming Sunday. I'm looking forward to hearing great things. Now, of course, you said the next event is going to be on December the...
Show of the year, December 27th, 6:05 p.m. bell time. Very special start time because, like I said, it is our Starrcade. It's our biggest event of the year. We're working on so many great things. Like I said, I'd love to see 150, 200 people Sunday to help us, alleviate some of the financial strain of what we want to do at Show of the Year. But, hey, you know what? I'm a money mark. I'm going to do what I want to do anyway. So let's have at it.
Well, you have been kind enough to allow BR Live and Wrestle Rage to do a combined show from over at A.W.E. before. We did it from the Quad. We tried to do it from the Masquerade, Hell East. And I'm sorry. I had to say that.
No, it is.
No, flip the freaking switch in the middle of an interview.
I would love for you guys to be at the Quad for Show of the Year.
Then I tell you what, I have an idea I'd like to bounce. I mean, I'm doing it live. What the hell? I could do it off air, but you know something? I think this is enough fun of an idea to where Josh is going to sit back and say, you know something? I kind of like the concept. Why don't we do an A.W.E. BR Live college game day style show?
I love it already.
Before the first bell rings, and we'll set it up to where even fans can come up and voice their opinions, pick match of the day, which match they're looking forward to the most. You want to try something like that?
Let's do it. Show of the year. Let's do it big.
You got it. Folks, it'll be a #BR road trip, #BR party in Atlanta, #BR party at the Quad. But we're going to have fun this Sunday first. Mark your calendars, make your plans. This Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Be in Atlanta. Be at the Quad, 714 Spring Street. Be at Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment. Josh Wheeler, always a pleasure, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Folks, going to head to the top of the hour break. When Back to Basics returns, going to be joined by Stan Grubb from Wrestle Rage Radio and Corner to Corner right here, coming up next.
This is Dale the Demon Torborg, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
When planning your next party or special event, insist on the best. Full Range Entertainment is a professional entertainment company providing a full range of services. From professional disc jockeys and MCs to catering and photography, when the details of your special day must be perfect, call us first. Wedding receptions, corporate parties, school functions, birthday celebrations, and more. We also have Birmingham's largest selection of karaoke tracks available. With over 40 years combined experience, Full Range Entertainment can provide you with the talent and professionalism you need and deserve to make your next event one you'll never forget. For more information on the full range of services we offer, call 533-HITS. That's 533-HITS. Or check us out on our website at fullrangeentertainment.com.
This is Merciless Ray Mercer, Olympic gold medalist and board member of Find the Dream, and you're locked into Beyond Ringside.
The To Be Determined show live Wednesday nights, 9 Central Standard Time. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, the Grand Design, Clyde Braddock, and the Magic City Runner, Fast Eddie Layne, as we take you to the edge of uncensored. Yes, we go uncensored, so make sure you have your earmuffs. Ask your parents, for those of you, that are a little young, maybe under 18, but make sure if you have any heart conditions or any mental defects, please listen, because they may take effect right here live every Wednesday night, 9 Central Standard Time. Beyond Ringside Radio Network, beyondringside.com.
This is Danny Cage from the world famous Monster Factory, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on BeyondRingside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
This is the seven-figure deal, Ace Rockwell. And as long as Wicked Nemesis isn't on the show, please listen. You're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hey, half-heads, it's a 3-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Scrapline Adam Pierce. And just like me, you are locked in Beyond Ringside.
Nine minutes after the top of the hour on this Tuesday night, November 24. Fast Eddie Layne live from Studio One on Back to Basics. The 10 count is on, where everything is on the table and nothing is off the record. Special thank you to Josh Wheeler from Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment for coming on board during our first hour. Like to welcome, by the way, also once again, in 1 hour from now, or just under an hour from now, going to be joined by tag team partner on Saturday Showcase, but also the man with Peach State Wrestling Alliance, Shane Knowles, back with us here on Back to Basics in just a few. Right now, being joined by tag team partner. You're going to stay awake for the whole show, right?
I will stay awake for the entire show.
Okay.
Unlike Sunday, I will be awake.
Now, was that a reflection of being exhausted or a reflection of survivor? Ladies and gentlemen, Stan Grubb from Wrestle Rage Radio on the line.
What's up, everybody? Always glad to be here on Tuesdays. I love hanging out with Eddie. Josh is a hard-hitting promoter, man. That guy is always working, and I dig what he does. I really do hope he likes that name, so that's pretty cool. Man, I tell you what, Sunday's indication is, as far as the sleeping was twofold. I mean, I was exhausted for one. I hadn't slept pretty much all week. But the show there were some parts that I just didn't get. And I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit more in depth, but God, I don't think it's as bad as the fan base likes to make it out to be, but there's definitely some improvement needed. Definitely time to make some work happen.
I'd made a comment on previous occasions that the way things have bolted up with the Divas Revolution, it's just, to me, it seems like there is something about the chemical equation in place on the main roster that no matter who you put in there, something is going to make you feel like it's the same old. It's happening with Charlotte. It's happening with Becky Lynch. It's happening with Sasha Banks. And it's happening with Paige. And I hate it for them because they have busted their asses. But I honestly have to sit back and wonder, is it just something about the way things translate onto the main roster regardless of who it is?
Well, I mean, there's some things you have to point out about the current product right now, and you're absolutely right. There's a huge disconnect with what they view as a revolution and what we're seeing. When it started hot and heavy, we had Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Paige, all of these tremendously talented women that just really deserve a better shot than they're getting. The problem that we're seeing now is it's very clear that there is a power struggle right now. I don't know if the rumors are right, if it's Kevin Dunn versus Triple H, if it's Hunter and Vince, whatever the case may be, there's a clear struggle in creative right now. I don't know that we're seeing the best of anybody's work right now, which is unfortunate because we are seeing the best of Roman Reigns right now. And if anybody is getting the shaft, aside from him, I'd say it's the women's division. For one, let's just look at the controversy from last Monday's Raw. The Reed Flair comments. Was it hard-hitting and emotional? Absolutely. Was it pointed? Sure. And it definitely drew emotion and reactions from fans. From that perspective, in the Attitude Era, that would have been a top-notch segment. But here's the problem, folks, and I got a lot of heat from Eddie and from Corey about this. The Attitude Era wasn't as good as everybody blows it up to be. Here's the problem. When you have segments like that push the envelope, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But when you do too much shock TV, or crash TV as Vince Russo calls it, what you start noticing is that it's not a crash anymore. It's just every day. And the Reed Flair comment was so out of left field, nobody was ready for that. You didn't prime it, you didn't tease it, you didn't talk about... There was none of that. So it just came out, and it was almost like a flub. It was almost like somebody said it and was like, ooh, that got said. And that was the air gets sucked out of the arena, so the brawl doesn't have the reaction it needs to have. The emotion is lost all of a sudden because now we know it's a cheap shot, and it's cheap heel heat all of a sudden. So, I mean, it's just, it fizzled before it really became anything. And then after the fact, everybody and their cousin, just like they always do, sits on Twitter, Facebook, and every other social media point you can find, even that pathetic thing called Google+. They all decide that they're going to complain, and they go to Ric Flair, of all people, and quote his podcast where he was never informed. Hey, there's a lot of things that happened that Ric Flair did that no one else was informed of. Guess what, folks? That's wrestling. That's the business. Suck it up. The other part of it is, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, where the hell have they been? Sasha Banks gets side jobbed, or whatever you want to call it, so that Naomi can wrestle? Naomi sucks. Nikki Bella's hurt. Hope she heals soon. But we have to kind of point out the elephant in the room that Nikki Bella was the reason the Revolution was necessary. Now she's gone, these women are necessary. That's how it is on the main roster. NXT, you have a very niche product. Your women can do what they need to do and get over and stay over, might I add. They can draw crowd reaction. They can turn heel, turn face, and it all works because it's intimate, it's smaller, and the product is simpler. With WWE on the main roster, you might as well just call it the main roster. It's a different animal. It's one of the reasons that Adam Rose didn't get over. It's another reason that Emma didn't get over. It's just a different product. So the first thing you did that screwed it up was calling it a Divas Revolution, because if you really wanted a revolution, you stop calling them Divas. The other part of it is you got the wrong people involved. Bless her heart, she works hard, she has improved, but Tamina is not ready for that kind of exposure. Naomi is still not ready for that kind of exposure. And again, bless her heart and her hard work, Alicia Fox is not ready for that kind of exposure. And she's not up to talent for it. Natalya, on the other hand, perfect for that role. Paige, Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, and Bayley, who should have been called up a few months ago. That's what I'd have did. They're running into a very familiar problem. There's this butting of the heads. Vince or Kevin Dunn or whoever it is with Triple H and Stephanie, someone back there is not okaying the right things. And it's starting to spread because it was officially a blown spot, if you want to call it that, when they started making the Divas Revolution out to be everybody chase after Nikki. Well, okay. Now who's the bad guy? Oh, only Nikki. So everybody's going to cheer for the bad guy group, which was Sasha, Naomi, and Tamina. Everybody's going to cheer for Team PCB because it's Team PCB in their faces. Great. Now what do you do? So now everybody's a good guy except Nikki. That just doesn't make any sense. So, I mean, no one was really drawing any kind of continuity or any kind of logic out of it. And WWE gets this heat all the time from fans. They just don't know how to do it. They don't know how to string it together anymore. And that's what we're seeing. I mean, Monday Night Raw this past week did less than 3 million viewers. Now, that's still a lot of viewers, but less than 3 million is the lowest that they've done since 97. And that's huge. That's a huge deal. And seeing Survivor Series where Charlotte and Paige was actually a pretty good match. I'm not sure what people found so wrong with it, but I liked that match. And I liked the fact that Charlotte took over and punished Paige for what she did. That's what's supposed to happen in big playoff matches or payoff matches. So the following Monday where I don't know why they did that. But that match sucked. And the whole segment where she put her on the table, doing a submission on the table does not make the submission more effective. Just looks good for TV. I don't know. There's no logic. There's no logic to it, and it really throws me off because when you see things like that and they begin to spread like into the main event where we have Sheamus coming out, cashing in on a guy who was built up only to be torn down. This wasn't the Daniel Bryan push. Roman Reigns had finally earned his stripes. And they needed a bad guy champion because apparently that's the only way we can do things in WWE. You have to have a bad guy champion. It just doesn't make any sense. If everything was always about heel and face, then, and I hate to take a dig at independent wrestling, but WWE would still be doing business in closed circuit TV. It's not about that anymore. It's about competition. It's one of the things that made Ring of Honor so good. Because, yeah, you had your good guys, you had your bad guys, but the priority was competition. I don't know. That's where I stand on it. I mean, I think the Divas thing is all blown up because they can't figure out what they want to do. They call it Divas for crying out loud, which is lame. Name one girl on that roster that's truly a diva.
You really want an answer for that?
Yeah, I mean, seriously, is there one girl aside from Summer Rae, who's not even really a wrestler, that's a diva?
Okay, give me your definition of the word diva, please.
Diva to me is a prima donna. It's a negative connotation. It's you know what I mean?
Either Bella.
Okay.
See, that's where I made the statement last time during my side of the coin. It's time to evolve and change the name of that division. Get rid of the word diva. If you really want to be something cute, I hate to say this because I know other promotions have actually used it. Why not call them diamonds?
Yeah, now that actually is a really good idea.
Yeah, I know. There's another promotion that actually uses that for their women's division. And I think that's effing incredible. And if it has not been copyrighted or trademarked and something of that ilk, WWE would be well served. I mean, because it's in the presentation. Look, kids, I'm going to go ahead and expound on something that we're talking about here. For all intent and purposes, the word diva is not complimentary. The word diva has a long-running parallel with the word bitch.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that I just never understood. You know, back when it was the Attitude Era, they didn't really call them divas either. They called them women, ladies, chicks, broads, whatever.
Yeah.
They didn't call them divas. Because divas is a bad thing, folks. It's a bad thing. If you're a diva, then no one wants to work with you. Then why on earth do we want to watch you wrestle or talk or even go out in a bikini? If you're a diva, we don't want to see you. That's the problem. That's why when they did, what was it, VH1 that used to do the Divas concert?
Yes.
Why would you do that to those women?
Look at who they put on there.
I mean, that's true. I mean, they were self-centered, but
look at who they put on there. Look at who they put on the bill on that 9 times out of 10. The people that they put on that show were reputedly some of the most difficult to work with. Right, and they actually they made a parody out of it. With WWE, I don't care to sit back and say the fact that I think that they're using the word divas as a parody of the women's division, because there have been some women over the years that have been slightly difficult to work with. And I think your Skype buddy may actually fall into that classification.
My Skype doesn't like me.
My Skype.
No one likes Stan's Skype.
My Skype doesn't do pay-per-view. Screw that.
You know, I've got a no house show rule in my Skype account, apparently.
Funny.
I don't get to do guest spots or call into people's show anymore because it's just, Stan's calling in. No, we're not going to do that. We need to be able to hear people.
You lost me on that one. We'll talk off air. Now, I put out the challenge. You heard during Seg 1 about the road trip. 27 December, ATL, A.W.E, show of the year.
I got to tell you, I want so bad to be able to do these shows. It's some of it's logistics, some of it's financial, and some of it is based around what I can pull off family-wise. But I would certainly love to do it. I really need to sit down, and you and I have talked about it before off air. I really need to sit down and just go over some information and see what I can put together, because I know it's doable. But there's some parts I just have, some moving parts that I have to kind of get organized. That's all.
Easy. If you can get a Monday off work, that means you can come down Saturday after Christmas, grab a cheap hotel room, turn around, go to the show Sunday, leave out Sunday after the show, after we go by either the varsity or full cart, triple-decker meatball burger.
That sounds really good.
And it was incredible. You saw the picture, didn't you?
I did see the picture. Yes, I did. I remember you sending that out. That was
Thank you very
pretty
much.
dynamite.
Yeah, really. Corey had what was called the quad burger.
Oh, did he tear it?
Oh, that was bad. How can we say this? That was bad.
Hey, they can't all be winners, guys.
Yeah, but by the same token, I think his quad burger was 2 ounces of beef less than my triple.
Well, he gets his meat in other places. It's all right.
Oh, wow. We were referring, of course, to Corey Natch, a smart grade from Russell Rage Radio. Of course, he takes his shots at us. We'll wait for Sunday.
Yeah, he may get top billing, but he's still the bottom bun.
Oh, wow. That was low. That was like that was bargain basement, but still funny.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Yeah, I know. You know, we say his name too many times. He will mysteriously appear, right?
It's just like Beetlejuice
and Candyman.
Ugh, I hadn't thought about that one.
Yeah, I know. I have actually. To which I will sit back and segue real quick, as we are 24 after the hour on this Tuesday night thing. Your Panthers.
God, isn't that beautiful? Carolina finally getting its just due, and still people are picking Dallas to win this week. Ugh, you're killing me. Look, I know Tony Romo's a good quarterback. I'm not trying to, put him down, but the Cowboys have played so miserably this season. It's kind of like the people that were thinking Washington was going to beat Carolina. Now, in Washington's defense...
You like that? You like that?
Regular season-wise, Washington always gives Carolina fits. I can remember when they did it to Delhomme. They did it to Cam Newton once before. Unfortunately, they found a way to have their number, but not this past weekend, because Cam Newton, as all my good Panther fans mentioned, dabbed on him, and I dig it. I dig it the most. I do like that, Kirk. I do, because that's what we need to see. And I really, really would like to see. I know it's going to be a tough thing to pull off towards the end of the schedule, but I would love to see Carolina go undefeated. It's tough, man. I mean, we saw New England do it and then ultimately blow up at the Super Bowl.
Right.
Which God knows I loved. But this is a time right now where we could finally see, thank God, Carolina come out as an elite team. They have these brief shining moments of brilliance. This season's just been so awesome. Makes me wish they were on TV more. But hey, if they keep winning like this, they will be on TV more. So it just makes me even happier.
Hang on one second. Yeah, and I'm looking right now. This is something Shane and I discussed the other day on Saturday Showcase. The fact that right now the Carolina-Dallas game is a pick'em. Over is set at 45.5.
That might be true. But here's the thing. And what I've noticed past few weeks is the defense for Carolina is slowly but surely getting better in the fourth quarter. They do very well first three quarters. Fourth quarter, they just seem to get blown up. And it's not hard to imagine, because when you're scoring as quickly as they do on offense, the defense spends more time on the field, and it makes sense. But they are getting better, and we're seeing guys like Norman, who just plays out of his body, out of his mind. Thomas Davis, of course, Luke. I mean, God, the defense is getting better every week, and that should make Dallas nervous. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we saw like a 19-16 kind of victory. It's a low, but I just have this feeling that Dallas will play him tough, and Carolina will still come out ahead. I wouldn't mind seeing a high-scoring one, but I get tired of the fourth quarter heart attack, Oh, Andrew Luck's trying to come back. Are you kidding me? Come on, man. Referees are ruining it this season. With some of these blown calls. I mean, the tide of the game, and I'm a Carolina diehard, but the tide of the game truly turned when the referees called back that play for Washington, and all of a sudden Washington gives up on themselves when it's 21-14. So it sucked for them. It was truly a bad call because, honestly, I think Carolina still could have won, but it would have been a lot tougher of a game. But it took the wind out of their sails. Referees have been doing it all season long. Hey, I don't know what to make of it, but it seems like Taz is on the right track. Everything's a work, so maybe we should trust him.
Yeah, there you go. Tell you what, do me a favor, hang tight. Folks, we're going to go to the bottom of the hour break a little bit early. We are going to be back right here on Back to Basics right after this. Stay tuned.
What's up, everybody? This is Jimmy Rave, and you're listening to the only Jimmy Rave approved radio show. You're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Layne, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
This is Danny Cage from the world famous Monster Factory, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hey, this is Stan Grubb for Wrestle Rage Radio right here on BeyondRingside.com. Join us every Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for myself and Smart Rage as we discuss the professional wrestling business from WWE, TNA, and all things in between. We'll have an interview here or there. We'll see what we can do to just keep you entertained. And along the way, we're going to have to bring up some emotion and make you think. That's what we like to do. So join us here on Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll see you at Wrestle Rage.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bill Behrens, and you're watching, you're listening, you're experiencing Beyond Ringside, and you are a better person for it. Trust me.
2010, after 2 years of constant bullying, 11-year-old Ty Smalley took his own life. In the past 7 years, more than 55,000 children have taken their own lives due to bullying. That's 22 youth suicides every day. Stand for the Silent is a grassroots organization that educates people about the harsh reality of bullying and the devastation it causes, and they need your help. Visit standforthesilent.org to learn how you can get involved and help us to save lives.
I stand for the silent.
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 I stand for the silent. I stand for the silent.
I stand for the silent.
I stand for the silent.
I stand for the silent.
I stand for the silent.
I'm Roddy Piper, and we stand for the silent.
This is Harley Race, 8 times NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, first ever King of the Ring, and you're locked into Beyond Ringside.
Let's do this thing. Welcome back into Back to Basics on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network, 25 before the top of the 10 o'clock hour in the Central Time Zone. Fast Eddie Layne, live from Studio One, welcoming back in Stan Grubb. Stanley, what's up, buddy?
Living the dream, sir. Living the dream.
I'll drink to that. Thank you again to Josh Wheeler from A.W.E for coming on a little bit earlier in the evening. Still slated to be joined by Shane Knowles from the Peach State Wrestling Alliance. Folks, real quick, gonna run it down for you. Thanksgiving turmoil from the Peach State Wrestling Alliance set for this Saturday, November the 28th, 8 p.m. local time. We're going to be covering that a little bit more in depth in just a few minutes. And before I go any further, I want to say a very special thank you to everybody who came out to Pell City, Alabama this past Saturday night for Global Championship Wrestling. Things are in play, and I'm going to be going back-to-back all over again. We return. Global Championship Wrestling returns to Pell City, Alabama, Saturday night, December the 26th, 7:30 p.m. bell time. Seasons Beatings 2015. Already got 2 matches signed right off the bat. Ladies Tag Team Challenge match. Stormy Lee, the Queen of Florida, teaming up with Veronica Fairchild from the Brotherhood, taking on the combination of the GCW Women's Champion, Calm Like a Bomb Pandora, and America Strong. Mark your calendars, make your plans. Saturday night, December 26th, back in Pell City. And yes, it will be a hashtag BR road trip that night, too. We're going to have some fun. You know, Stan, you brought up something from this Sunday, which I think we're going to end up going point counterpoint on. Because I understand the logic and the principal reasoning behind this, but I'm going to go ahead and turn the ball into your court first on the factor of the cash-in of the case by Sheamus on Roman Reigns.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, you got to look at the dynamic of the characters you've got involved. Start from the finals. You've got Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, two very, very hot good guys right now. Roman Reigns, I can't say enough about the guy. I get a lot of heat for this too, but the fact is Roman Reigns has earned his stripes. This man has been improving hand over fist, week over week, and it doesn't stop. I mean, the guy just continues to get better. Sure, his in-ring work is sometimes put on the back burner because of his work on the mic, but here's the thing. When you're telling a guy like that what to say, we already know he's charismatic. He can do it on his own. He shouldn't be told what to say. So let's put that aside, because we already know that. That's not new. Dean Ambrose is over right now as one of the hottest lunatic-type characters in the business.
Since Roddy Piper.
I mean, exactly. He's very Roddy Piper-like. He's got a lot of that. He's got a lot of Stone Cold Steve Austin in him. You name the comparison, because he's got it. And he's definitely a made man. So you've got this finals. It's two good guys going face-to-face or going head-to-head. And you know that it's going to be a hard-fought battle. You know this tournament's been hard-fought. So whoever you crown as champion in this moment, from my mind, from a creative standpoint, has to enjoy this moment. And this is why. You need to start developing continuity and logic, and you need to start showing the fans that you're devoted to a story playing out in its entirety, not changing on the fly. They don't usually change on the fly that much in WWE. If you really need proof of that, you look at Daniel Bryan and what they did with him, because they pushed that for over a year. So we already know that they know how to do this. They decided to put Roman Reigns in the hot seat and make him the world champion, which is fine. I think that's a great move. Dean Ambrose's time will come, and it probably will come sooner than later. My guess is WrestleMania. The thing that I'm noticing before we even get to a moment where we could think about a Sheamus cash-in is Sheamus hasn't done diddly squat since 2009. And I don't care what anybody says. His new quote-unquote gimmick is not a gimmick. It's just boring. His wrestling hasn't changed. His attitude hasn't changed. His personality just isn't doing it. And it hasn't done it. It doesn't draw ratings. It certainly doesn't draw audience. And if we're just being honest here, it's not selling merchandise either. So here's a guy that you've got stuck in the fold. He's a Triple H guy. We know this. He's got the Money in the Bank contract. So you have Roman Reigns in this moment, which really was a good moment. Go back, watch the replay, watch the reaction to the fans when he's celebrating. Yes, there's that John Cena-esque kind of thing where people are booing and cheering, but that's always going to happen. You're always going to have a snarky fan out there that's booing, which just, to me, is stupid. It doesn't solve your problem. So Roman Reigns has this moment. It's emotional. It's magical. People are buying into Roman Reigns. So what do? You have Triple H come down, and then Triple H goes for the handshake. Roman Reigns says no again. Finally, he turns like he's going to maybe shake his hand, and no, he spears him. Crowd goes nuts. Huge moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the fans are into it. They're behind Roman Reigns. You've got a set world champion now, and you've set the table for now Triple H is going to make your life a living hell. Hey, you've got authority versus Roman Reigns. You can do this every week if you want. And people will get more behind Roman Reigns because they don't like the authority. And now you can throw Sheamus at him and tease the turn and tease the cash-in. You can do it for months. They did it to Dolph Ziggler. They did it to Jack Swagger. They did it to Damian Sandow. Hell, they did it to CM Punk. It's a working formula. Instead, because, I don't know, reasons, I guess, It's time for Sheamus to run down and bro kick Roman Reigns out of the stratosphere. That first kick was ridiculous.
Yeah.
and give Roman Reigns credit for selling it like a champ. So
I don't think he had much of a choice.
What's that?
I don't think he had much of a choice.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, that kick connected. It was tight. So Reigns is down. To me, problem, as if we haven't already seen problems here, that should have been the pin. That should have been it. He just went 2 matches, over 30 minutes. His arm was already worn out. He should have been exhausted and spent. That should have been it. Instead, he gets a 2 count and hits him with another bro kick. The problem with that is, how was Roman Reigns able to get up off his feet from a bro kick that should have knocked him out cold? That's one problem. The second problem is, he goes for a clothesline, but not really, because he reaches over his head.
Right.
The hell are you doing, Reigns? What is that? So instead of trying to sell it even further, he just totally overshoots it and telegraphs it, and everybody now knows, oh, here comes the other bro kick. And it does. And he gets the win. Sheamus becomes champion. The question isn't, wow, now we have a good guy or a bad guy that we can boo. What else is new? The question is, why? Sheamus isn't ready for this. He wasn't ready in 2009. What makes anybody think this is going to be any different? Because you got Wade Barrett in his corner now? Because you got Rusev in his corner now? No. Rusev sucks. I don't care what anybody says anymore. Rusev is the worst. As Corey would say, the drizzling shits. And I don't cuss a whole lot on air. But it's legit. The guy is boring. He has no drive. He has no motivation. He's got a fiance now that has, to quote multiple news sources, nuclear heat backstage. Guys, this is not a good formula. But apparently, at 2.16 for the rating scale for this past Monday, I guess they think it's all gravy. I don't know. I mean, I don't understand what their goal is with this guy. Because Sheamus is only going to last but so much longer. He's only one good shoulder injury away from being retired.
Right.
And I hate that, because Sheamus has these moments where he's good and he's funny. And, I mean, like the whole, let's go, what did he say? Go dance and beat up some posers or something?
Right.
It was hilarious. I loved it. Getting jiggy and beating up posers. That's what he said. And it was hilarious. But that's the Sheamus that people enjoy. Not the corporate sellout, I guess? Corporate Irishman?
Okay.
I don't understand that. So, that's my thought.
Let's put the world in proper perspective from my side of the coin. Reigns wasn't ready. Nutmeg. Nutshell. Reigns wasn't ready. He is still getting better in ring. He is still getting better on the microphone. To put the belt on him at this moment would have been the consummate knee jerk. But they did put him over Ambrose to test the market. You had one of the rare occasions in WWE television, even on a $9.99 preview, where you had a face matchup.
And it was a good face matchup.
Yes, it was. For those who really want to screw this thing up, it's not a babyface versus babyface matchup. It's not a face versus face matchup. It's a face matchup. So, there, I said that. It's out of the way.
My bad. Sorry.
No. I'm talking about other people. Not talking about you. Honestly, I wasn't.
It's okay.
Sheamus is kind of like old reliable to a degree. He's got the case. The smart thing to do is go ahead and let him use it. Because if you don't put it in play now, how in the mortal hell are you going to get that case in play in a positive way over the next 4 months? This is the end of November, kids. You got December, then Rumble, then whatever, then Mania, right around the corner. If that case doesn't get cashed in successfully, then Sheamus joins the ranks of 2 other individuals, to my knowledge, that were unsuccessful in cashing their case in. 2. And one of theirs was the WWE poster boy.
So is that necessarily a bad thing or a good thing there?
they can't always sell it as, you hold that case, you're pretty much guaranteed the WWE title, when that number of people that hasn't won it grows. As long as you have a majority of people, a solid majority of people that have cashed in successfully, you can use that phrase. Sheamus needed to cash that in and capture the title.
But on Roman Reigns at Survivor Series?
Why not? It's white hot heat.
Yeah, but it's not the right heat for him.
He's
Sheamus
a
is
heel.
not a corporate guy.
No, but he's a heel. He doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be. Look, everybody know. Okay, and it's like I was in text conversation with the Kaz Sunday night, and his immediate comeback was, well, Triple H's workout buddy. And what's funny is even Sheamus in an interview said Triple H and he had only worked out a couple of times together. Now, I don't know if his definition of a couple is 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, or if his definition of a couple is a couple of times a week. So I'll leave that at that. But to me, it's irrelevancy. Sheamus has still got a lot going in his direction. The facial hair thing that he's doing still is just overly Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it's gotta go. I'm sorry.
Because he did it for the role, but...
I know that. Why do you think I said it's for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? I said it's over, it's done, let it go.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like it was like overdoing it.
Yeah, it's done. He needs to go back to the traditional handlebar. And I think, or the goatee-esque style.
Mm-hmm.
Because as long as he is giving people something to chant about in that regard, he's not being taken seriously as a pure heel. Sheamus was at his best, and this is something I've said forever and a freaking day. When you have, and look, everybody wants to sell merch. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a greenie stepping in for the first day of training, stepping in for your first match, celebrating your first, your 5th, your 10th, or 20th anniversary in the business. Everybody wants to sell merch. But what this business needs more than people who want to sell merch are people who can sell tickets. A good, pure heel can sell tickets. Can Sheamus become that good, pure heel once again? Properly played, yes. But we live in a society where it's hard as hell for people to move on. Look, you made a reference to how many people watching Raw last night? The early indications?
Just under 3 million, 2.9 or something like that.
Do you realize that's not even half the city of Atlanta's population?
Yep. It speaks volumes. I mean, people are not into what they're seeing right now. They could have laid groundwork to do something different. Instead, they took the easy way out.
They needed to take the easy way out this time. In this particular scenario, you had a number of different things you could have done. You could have genuinely put that belt on an untried commodity, Kevin Owens. You could have blown somebody completely up through the ranks, Neville. You could have gone ahead and put it on Dean Ambrose. How much would that have affected their long-term plans for Roman Reigns? Look, if you're going to turn one of them eventually anyway, but timing is everything. The injury to Rollins could not have come at a worse time. And on a for-the-record basis, how do we know? I don't care who has inside buddies up one side and down the other of the Fed. How do we know that this was not the original game plan to begin with for Rollins versus Reigns? If Reigns at the end of the night was going to go over Seth Rollins to become the champion and then Sheamus cashes in, you're still in the same boat. You just got the factor of, well, why would they, you'd have the multitude of people going, well, why would they take the belt off of Rollins just to put it on Sheamus? To build another heel for the moment.
But we don't even have any good guys right now. I mean, you got
Listen
Dean Ambrose and Roman
said.
Reigns, but they just got buried.
No, not really. Dean Ambrose didn't get buried.
He was shuffled down to a tag match that no one could have cared less about.
Only for one night. You have to keep the world in perspective. Not everybody can fill the main event slot every night. If you did, you'd have a 50-person battle royal and nothing happening in the previous 2.5 hours. Everybody's got to go somewhere. Case point scenario, let me give you this one. Internationally known, Jimmy Rave. Wrestles in main events, wrestles in like, what's the word I'm looking for? Multi-level main events. No relation whatsoever to multi-level marketing. From there, I have to put this in play. This past Saturday night in Pell City, Jimmy Rave wrestled second on our card. Second. And he was fine with that. So, if you can have... See, and a lot of people will sit back and say, well, that doesn't make sense in the match order. Who says everything has to make sense? How do we know the opening match, which was a Rumble-style Battle Royal, to pass somebody through to the next round of the championship tournament? Mm-hmm. Well, you've got to have a match that's going to maintain some semblance of normalcy, and well, lo and behold, Jimmy Rave and Tommy Pinarelli put together a great match that kept the fans in it and brought fans to another level of in it after the Battle Royal. So, yeah, if Dean Ambrose would have curtained last night on Raw, I haven't watched all of Raw. I watched part of it. I had a friend of mine, Ichabod Temperance, over here last night, and we were doing an audiobook. So my Mondays are going to be a little bit cascaded for the next few weeks. But I'll put that in perspective. We'll cover that a little bit later. But as far as it goes right now, there is nothing. I see nothing wrong with them having gone ahead and pulled the swerve on everybody, because you only had a limited number of people genuinely talking about Sheamus yesterday before the show. You had maybe 1 out of 15, where normally it's 1 out of 5. Lo and behold, once again, I asked the question. If Rollins had not gotten hurt, if Rollins had been healthy, and Reigns goes over Rollins clean, and then Sheamus comes out to cash in the case, and he goes over Reigns, same situation. Does that make Reigns look cheap? Nope. Does it make him look weak? Nope. He took 2 bro kicks after wrestling 2 matches. I'd say Reigns still looks pretty damn strong. Does Ambrose look weak going into Raw? No. He just got through wrestling 2 matches too. And he lost to a person who was bigger and stronger than him. Now, like I said, you've got so many different clusters in play on Raw, SmackDown, up and down the main roster. You have to be able to put things and you have to shuffle them around every once in a while. Because if you keep giving people the predictable, the only predictable thing that will happen is you'll hear a sound. Click. Yes, last night was a setback. 3 million people watching.
Less than.
Yeah, I know. Once again, half the population of the city of Atlanta. Mm-hmm. But, and by the way, thank you, Paragon Pro Wrestling, for shifting channels. I'm pissed. We'll cover that in a second. Actually, we'll go ahead and shift in that direction for a minute. 6 minutes before the top of the hour on this Tuesday night, Fast Eddie Layne, Stan Grubble, Back to Basics. About to be joined by Shane Knowles from the Peach State Wrestling Alliance and from the Saturday Showcase. The fun part about the weekend, or the week that was last week, that you didn't get a chance to really comment on, was the factor of the new markets being explored by pro wrestling television. You've got Impact leaving Destination America to come over to Pop TV. Paragon Pro Wrestling, that was already on Pop TV, is leaving to go to another network, which I wish they weren't leaving Paragon. If they're leaving because of Impact, that blows. If Paragon is leaving Pop TV because of something that happened with Impact TV, that blows. Plain and simple.
I would tell you that you're probably more on the right than you know about that.
I don't know.
Because I have a feeling that it's something that had to do with Dixie Carter.
We want to be the only pro wrestling show on your channel. Well, become pro wrestling then. Look, And before I go any further, Ring of Honor Wrestling will continue to air on Sinclair affiliates, but also will now be picked up by Comet. What the hell's a comet? Something that comes around Earth once every 83 years?
Sounds like that's the next time we'll get to see Ring of Honor.
I got Sinclair over here. I've got Sinclair. I'm good.
Yeah, if I want to either get Comcast to give me a DVR or stay up till 3 a.m. on Fridays, I guess I could watch it.
You have a VCR?
You know what? No, I don't.
What? I have a DVD recorder I can use. 2 of them. But, okay. A lot of people are fickle about Paragon because of the different talent. See, here's the funny thing about this. This is what really just screws my head up. You have individuals that will look at NXT and go, I don't know these people, but this is cool. They'll look at Ring of Honor. I don't know these people, but this is cool. And they'll look at Paragon and go, who are these people? Why is there a different reaction for Paragon when you do the same crap to NXT and Ring of Honor?
It's all about production. They keep watching it long enough, they'll get back into it. I like Paragon. I think they have a good product. I like what they do with Joey Ryan, and I'm not a big Joey Ryan fan, but I like it.
I actually like Joey Ryan, and I'm a fan of what they're doing with him. See, we can agree to disagree. We can agree to agree. That's a scary thought.
Right.
Agreeing
or something like that.
Something like that. But no, seriously, I look at the overall perspective, and now Impact has moved up to a channel that has 75 million homes, allegedly. Ring of Honor has almost done a lateral move, but I think I'm not a big fan of. I don't know Comet TV. I've never watched them before. I don't think I have them here in my market. Fortunately, I have a Sinclair affiliate, and unfortunately, now Paragon is moving into different venues, which is just totally screwing with my head because I enjoyed their product, and if I'm not able to see it, then that really sucks, kids. It really does. Your thoughts on the entire game of hopscotch with TV?
I think it's interesting to see the spin game that Dixie Carter tries to play. She went from Spike TV, which was... Now, they weren't doing him any favors in TNA. That's true. But the exposure that Spike TV provided for TNA was pretty much enormous. Not quite USA Network level, but pretty high. I think it was something like 90-something million homes had access to it. Some crazy number like that. So then they make that change, and what we had been told was that Spike was going to cancel them. That's the story that was out there. Spike doesn't really cancel them. They just don't renew the deal. TNA goes to Destination America, which is supposed to be a hot new network. I'll give them credit. It's a popular network, but still limited access. Now it's down to... Help me out, Eddie. Wasn't it like 50 million? Maybe even 40?
I think it's less than 50, yeah.
So we understand the idea of moving back into a higher audience availability. But the problem with it is people don't know what Pop TV is.
Right.
And people aren't going to know what Pop TV is until they are exposed to it in a mainstream product. TNA hasn't done very good promoting themselves in a long time. They know this. We know this. It's not a secret. So for them to sell this like it's a huge success for them, it's going to blow up in their face again because they're going to overstay their welcome with Pop TV, which is horrible because Pop TV could be a good thing for them. I just think it's amusing because they're running out of people and they're running out of time because people continue to go from TNA to Global Force, which we still don't know if there's truly a partnership there. I'm assuming there's not, but we don't know. They're going to go to Global. They're going to go to WWE or NXT. I mean, we saw James Storm do it. It's only a matter of time before Austin Aries makes the turn there. We know that Gunner was there backstage not too long ago. We know that Bobby Roode has interest there, even though he's working with Global. Their talent roster is shrinking. Their time window for being relevant is shrinking, which is a good thing for Ring of Honor. and a good thing for Paragon. Ring of Honor, I don't blame them for kind of shifting backward and going back to just the Sinclair thing for now and then going to Comet. Comet's supposed to be this new network. I've not really heard a lot about it. That's a problem for them, but they could be one of those flagship shows that helps them to grow. I hope it does, because Ring of Honor's product is good. Paragon, my gut reaction tells me that we have a promoter that's handling Paragon that does not like what Dixie does to this business, and probably stirred up a stink with Pop TV and said, listen, I don't agree with what you're doing here. I think it's a bad decision. That's what I would say, because I think it is a bad business decision for them.
Okay.
I wouldn't have left, though. I wouldn't have taken them off that network. But that's just me.
Do me a favor. Let me get this one in. I just did some looking around, and for my friends in the central Alabama area, Comet TV will be located on 21.3 on your digital tuner. So that is going to be a separate, what's the word? Syndicated television network. So it will be available for free on if you have a digital converter on your box. I don't know if Charter, Bright House, Comcast, Direct, and Dish are going to carry it in our area. But like I said, I will sit back. At this point, I've just looked it up, and amazingly enough, Comet TV is supposedly going to be a sci-fi channel. So,
okay.
Well, hell, sci-fi itself is pretty much done with WWE. I mean, they brought in SmackDown. Why shouldn't another sci-fi channel run Ring of
Hey, I mean, I don't really understand the whole, SmackDown on a different network anyway. I always thought it was all on the same one.
Yeah. Comet is a new television station dedicated to sci-fi entertainment, offering popular favorites, cult classics, and undiscovered gems every day. Comet is your television destination for Stargate SG-1, Stargate Atlantis, Stargate Universe, and Stargate My Crotch. Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't a real show. And we're starting them all from Episode 1. Watch Comet and space out.
So in other words, it's the Stargate network. Great.
Pretty
Cool.
much.
I hate Stargate.
November on Comet, look for sci-fi hits like Species, Leviathan, Blood and Chocolate. Catch the science fiction series.
wait. Blood and Chocolate?
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just going on their website.
It's just like El Rey Network when they show, they got Dusk Till Dawn, which is a great one. Their show is cool, too. And then you see some quasi-kung fu movie that no one's ever seen.
Exactly.
What the hell? Where do they get this stuff?
I have no damn idea. Also, catch the science fiction series The Outer Limits, weeknights at 8 p.m., 8 Eastern, 7 Central, followed by...
That series was cool.
Huh?
That series was cool.
Oh, yeah. And discover rare sci-fi like The Eliminators, The Twonky, and Solar Babies. So much sci-fi, you may need a clone to watch it all. Clones not included. On
The
that
Eliminators? Perry Saturn and John Cronus are back.
Funny, love it. Hang tight, folks. Going to the top of the hour break. Hour 2 in the books. Back to basics. We'll roll on in just a moment.
When planning your next party or special event, insist on the best. Full Range Entertainment is a professional entertainment company providing a full range of services. From professional disc jockeys and MCs to catering and photography, when the details of your special day must be perfect, call us first. Wedding receptions, corporate parties, school functions, birthday celebrations, and more. We also have Birmingham's largest selection of karaoke tracks available. With over 40 years combined experience, Full Range Entertainment can provide you with the talent and professionalism you need and deserve to make your next event one you'll never forget. For more information on the full range of services we offer, call 533-HITS. That's 533-HITS. Or check us out on our website at fullrangeentertainment.com.